In 2020, they made elections incredibly unsecure in this country, knowing that the less secure an election is, the better their chances are, because they know how the far left in this country operates and they know what they're willing to do. This seems to be just another example of, let's just cultivate the ground, because we know that the less secure an election is, the better chances we tend to have.
No, I agree with you. And from mass mailing ballots, unsolicited ballots back in 2020, to drop boxes, to all the things that we saw back in 2020 in Alabama, we've done some very good things to make sure we further fortify our elections process here in Alabama. Recently, I testified before the United States Senate Rules Committee about election integrity. And, I was asked a question about how can we verify citizenship and what tools do we have? And it's pretty simple. We don't have the tools that we need to verify citizenship. I sent a letter to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services to ask them, send me the list of the legal non-citizens that are here in the country, especially Alabama, and let me compare it to my voter file in Alabama and make sure that none of them are registered to vote. And you know what? They denied that and told me I could not have that information. And, we're taxpayers. You're a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. That information is ours. And I think it's just common sense that we can check our database and our voter file maintenance, because voter file maintenance is the foundation of election integrity.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now, and it is time for us to talk a little bit about a problem we have in this country, where every time someone interacts with a state or federal agency, somebody is sending them a voter registration card, whether they're registered already or not, whether they're eligible for registration or not. It doesn't matter. If you contact with the federal government, they will ask you, hey, would you like to register to vote? It's a very bad idea all the way around. I would argue that it's probably not better for our society to have more people voting. I would also argue it's not good for our society to have people who are not eligible to vote voting. Illegal immigrants are in this position. Now, there's a problem here, which we'll get into here in just a second, but listen to how all of this played out.
We got a complaint about a relative of a deceased individual that received a voter registration form. And so that caused alarm bells, obviously, to go off in my mind. And so we started asking some questions from where this voter registration card came from, but it led us down another path to basically discover that anyone that comes in contact with certain state agencies, whether or not they receive benefits or not, receive a voter registration form in the mail. And we just find that appalling. And it's because of the National Voter Registration Act that was passed back in 1993. And, the state agencies' hands are tied because they're following federal law, but it goes right along with Biden's executive order that he signed back in 2021 that really weaponizes and mobilizes the entire federal government apparatus to be voter registration agencies. And so we're just shocked at what we found. And, we wanted to alert and expose this and to make sure that the public knows about it.
Now, I will say this about the state of Alabama. We are in a better situation because of our voter ID laws. Other states are not as interested in enforcing those laws because they believe their side benefits from people voting illegally. And I could just stress this one more time. If you want to stop people who shouldn't be voting from voting, it is because you benefit when you stop people who shouldn't be voting from voting. If you want to allow people who shouldn't be voting to vote, it's because you benefit when people who are not allowed to vote, vote. It is that simple. So when you hear people talk about how bad voter ID is and actually keeping up with the voter rolls is and all this other stuff, it's because they benefit when chaos reigns. The state of Alabama does a pretty good job of keeping a lid on this. Other states, not so much.